What is going on, everybody? I'm Jordan McCallie.
I'm Mitch Ballot.
And that was me washing my basketball earlier. Guys, football season's behind us. It's time to wash our basketballs, get out to the local parks, and it's time to shoot some hoops. Mitch, there's so much to get into, and I'm excited to get into some basketball rather than some football. We've been balls deep, literally, in football for months, and now we can finally climb out of that and help everybody cover their sports basketballs appropriately, really.
Absolutely. And I think it's time we cover a lot of the basketballs in the world. And we'll still touch on other balls, of course, during the headlines, during other shows. But right now,
of course,
basketballs are in full force and full effect, and it's time for us to cover them.
But Mitch, before that, you know what time it is.
Oh, I know what time.
Mitch, it's time for our top 4 at 4. And guys, our top 4 at 4 today is our top 4 personal pet peeves. Mitch, what are your 4 top personal pet peeves?
Jordan, there's so many pet peeves I have, but the top 4, it was actually pretty easy for me. Okay. At number 4 are people who walk in the middle of the sidewalk or middle of the hallway that walk slow.
Oh,
okay?
My God.
Like, get off one side. Like, why do you have to ruin everyone? Like, I mean, I got long strides. I walk pretty fast. I mean, get out of my way. Stay onto the side. I mean, the highway, you're on the left side if you're going fast, right? Right side if you're going slow. I don't know why people think middle of the hallway they can walk slow as molasses, but whatever. Number 3, people talking or on their phone at a movie in a movie theater. If you're at home,
these are some
it's
good
a little
ones.
different. If you're at home, it's a little different. But if you're paying to go see a movie and you're distracting me by talking during the movie or on your phone, you piss me off. It's as simple as that. You're pissing me off.
That's fair enough, Mitch.
You're
human.
Number 2. Oh yeah. Number 2, Jordan, is for me personally, I hate being late. And if I'm late because of somebody else, then I'm really upset, really pissed off. But I just hate being late in general. Hate going to a function where you walk in late and then everybody stares at you like, "Ooh, what was he doing?" Like I don't need to answer that. Number 1 though, chewing with your mouth open.
Like goddamn cow animal. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we are on a farm. We're just trying to have dinner at a restaurant. Like, chew with your mouth closed.
I can't believe I didn't have these on mine. Those were solid.
So that one just really grinds my gears, and it's my top personal pet peeve, Jordan.
All of those
I can't wait to
things
hear yours.
piss me off. Yeah. Number 4, I'm a lunatic. I don't know if you guys watched USA Monk on USA, but I'm a pretty clean person. I'm also really particular about things. One of those things I'm particular about, rugs. If I see a crooked rug, I don't care if I'm in my house, your mom's house, or your mom's house. If your mom's mom is still alive, of course, I will fix her crooked rug. At number 3, I have when people don't speed up on highway on-ramps. Like, the ramps on the highway are so that you can get up to speed with traffic, not so you can take your time. Oh my God, can I get over, honey? No. Oh my God, my head wants to explode thinking about it. At number 2, I have people. Oh my gosh. People who, after they're done wiping their ass with the last of the roll of toilet paper, they'll put the rest of it, instead of throwing it away, they'll put it on top of where it was supposed to go. They're so lazy that they can't even throw it away. It's unbelievable. Or the people who, instead of putting the roll on the actual thing, they'll put it on top of the roll of toilet paper. They don't have enough energy to actually put it together. And at number 1, I have trail etiquette. Everybody on the trail, no one has etiquette, especially when the worst thing about the pandemic, and I know people are going to be like, Jordan, you're an asshole, and I am very much exactly that, but people in March and April were the worst on the trails. No one had been on the trail ever before, Mitch, because no one had ever worked out until the pandemic, apparently. And so all those people that took up the trail, it was really frustrating. And that is my top 4 at 4, Mitch.
Yeah, you sound frustrated with that.
I
do.
You
just look frustrated.
I do, because I'm thinking of all the times that people either cut me off or I fell like over top of somebody running or I ran somebody over. All of those things have happened. I've been hit by a car, So I know it's like, what do troops go through? What's it called?
Basic, what?
Not basic training. What's it? Traumatic experiences. How can I not think of this?
Oh, PTSD.
Yeah, I definitely have PTSD when it comes to like trails and like dogs in cars smacking my body around. But Mitch, talk about getting smacked around. The Duke Blue Devils are losing one of their best players who is opting out of the season. Jalen Johnson from Duke, who's played 21 minutes a game this year over 13 games. He's averaged 10.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 2.0 assists. He was number 13 of the top 100 coming into last season. And apparently this guy thinks he's so good that he can just go straight to the draft. He has no skills to refine from a Duke team that this is one of their worst teams they've ever had. Which brings us to a bigger point. Mitch, you've been talking for weeks about some of these older coaches at some of the main programs, such as Bill Self at Kansas, Coach K at Duke, Roy Williams at North Carolina, John Calipari at Kentucky. In particular, another one's Michigan State's Tom Izzo. All of them are a lot older coaches who are very like multiple generations out of what the generation that their players are in. One of the things you've said is their inability to connect with players. Is that something you think is playing the biggest factor in why all these college programs are losing? Like
to me, it has to be, because when you look at it, there's different ways you can look at it. But Jordan, earlier today when we were talking about this for the show, I was reading to you the top recruit rankings for 2020, and Duke had 3 of the top 18. North Carolina, I believe, had 3 of the top 24 recruits. And then Kentucky and Kansas had 2 or 3 top 50 recruits. Michigan State was in there with 1 or 2. So they're getting talented players, which these programs often get talented players.
Oh, no doubt.
Everybody's going through the same issues with COVID. Now, whether their teams are affected by it or not, that's the different variable. But there's obviously something going on this year. And Jordan, I even brought up Makura May, who was the number 7 player in the country that went to Howard. Yeah. I don't even know where Howard University is. So I think it's a combination of players not wanting to join the big dogs in college basketball and take them down. But I also do think that these older coaches, now I'm not saying they're bad coaches. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it is the inability of the older coaches to connect with this younger generation. I mean, Coach K is in his late 60s, I believe. Or
he's old. I think
70s.
I think he's in his early 70s. I
think. And we'll pull that up real quick.
Yeah.
Tom Izzo's been there for a while. Roy Williams has been there for a while. But there comes a point in time, Jordan, that you just can't connect with people from younger generations. And we're not talking 20-year age difference. We're talking about 50-plus years age difference here. And I think that it's just gotten to a point now where they don't know how to connect with these players and ask them what they want and what they're trying to prove. And it's also gotten to a point now where everybody's so focused on who goes number 1, number 2, number 3 in the NBA draft that I think more players are going to these programs that have a big time history of putting guys into the NBA, that they're just going there and using them as a stepping stone almost, and not even concerning themselves with winning a national championship or making a deep run in March. So I think it's between the coaches being out of sync and then also players being eye guys, which is what Johnson for Duke did. The biggest eye guy move of 2021 so far.
What do you think? What do you think about a lot of people are saying the talent level is down in college basketball, but not necessarily because of the one and done, but because of a lot of players that would be playing college basketball, they're playing in the G League. How much of a factor do you believe, Mitch, that's actually like put on the entire team? Do you know what I'm saying?
As
pick up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I think I am. I don't think it's that big of a factor though, because when I looked at the 2020 college basketball recruiting list, it looked like only 2 of the top 15 players didn't go to college, and still, like I said, Duke still had 3 of the top 18 recruits. So if I am picking this up the right way, I don't think it's making that big of a deal. I just think those kids are using another loophole to get out of going to school. Because let's be honest, a lot of these guys go for 1 year to get to the NBA and don't care about school. There's probably a lot of guys that are there that are upset they're there because they even have to go to school. But Listen, I think the G League is doing what they can to get younger talent in the NBA faster. Because as you know, when you go to college, you're there for one season and then you go to the G League, you're already playing against professional level opponents. Well, I mean, whether they're from overseas or they're not good enough to be in the NBA, so they're in the G League. Let me hear your take on this first before I go any further.
No, I mean, if I was coming out of high school, I personally would go to the G League. One, you're going to get paid, right? So,
right.
Maybe we don't know everybody's individual like family situation. You know, you might have come from a broken home, maybe just a single parent household. You know what I mean? So, I think that's a huge advantage. I also think it's a huge advantage because what is really the benefit of going to school for 1 year? Like, tell me the benefit. You get no degree. At least you're not going to be in debt at all going to college. Like, they might pay for your school, but there might be other things that you have to pay for. I like getting into the G League as soon as possible, personally.
Yeah, no, listen, I think it makes a lot of sense. And you said it the best, that they get paid. And as we know, being paid as a college athlete has become a more sensitive topic, both for the players and schools and the NCAA with the whole likeness issue. So right there is another reason why, if I was, slated as a top 10 recruit and you're going to go to the NBA in a few years, I'd go to the G League too and get paid right away and play against what some people would say is better competition. Get coached by guys who have been coaching in the pros. I don't think it's making that big a difference on college basketball, though, Jordan. I don't think it'll make that big of a difference until you start to see 10, 15, 20 plus recruits every year go to the G League instead of 2 or 3 here, or 2 in the G League and 3 going overseas like LaMelo Ball did. Or was it RJ Hampton went and played in New Zealand, I think. Yep. That's another one that was getting recruited by, I think, Duke and North Carolina, and said, no, screw college, I'm going to go play overseas. So even if and the G League is just starting with this whole letting younger players in out of high school. So there's been other alternatives that we've seen over the years. And I think now we're going to see who really cares about, like I just said, who cares about winning, who cares about building themselves and becoming a better teammate, and who cares about just doing it for them and building their own personal brand.
Well, and it's kind of cool if you think about it. Like, I know I've been bitching and complaining about this for weeks, about how things are kind of set up, but every sport has different eras, right? Like, if you go to the NBA, how many different eras do they have? And it's kind of neat when you, like, maybe 40 to 80 to 60 to 80 years from now, maybe the history of college basketball will be better because of this. Maybe this enters into a new era of college basketball where it's more enjoyable for the college fan. We truly don't know if this is a more enjoyable time for the college fan yet, because they haven't been able to go to the games. A basketball game is not a basketball game until you're at the basketball game. You can't watch a basketball game on TV and it be real. Like, it's not real until you can show up. It's kind of like it's not real unless you have a photo to prove that it happened. And I'm excited for fan play to come back. I think that's going to help college basketball a lot, Mitch.
I think so too.
One thing I brought up in passing, and we're going to get into this deeper right now, is Jalen Johnson and the impact that could have potentially on college basketball moving forward. How bad of a look is it for a guy who's a 19-year-old, but a guy who's literally giving up on his team in the middle of the season?
It's a bad look. It says a lot about it says a lot about Jalen Johnson as a person and as an athlete. And it shows you right now that for the first time in a long time, for the first time that I can remember, Duke is in a bit of a rough patch, in the season, that they might not make the NCAA tournament unless they win the ACC tournament. So it goes to show you, when the going gets tough, Jalen Johnson's not going to stick around for it. And that says a lot. And I think NBA teams are going to take that into account a lot, because these teams at the top that are going to draft him, Jalen Johnson is a projected lottery pick. He was the number 13 prospect in ESPN Top 100 this year. I believe they have him slotted as a top 10 pick in the draft. So what are teams that are already struggling? Let's go Cavs for a second. The Cavs suck. They're going to be back in the lottery. Been in the lottery every year.
They'll be there.
Since LeBron left. They do live there. Since LeBron left the first time and LeBron left the second time. If you're the Cavs, are you going to take this guy that, what's Duke? 8-8, I think, or right around 500? that you might be bringing him into a team that can't win more than 20 games? What is he going to do? Quit in the middle of the season and say, I'm resting until next year? It says a lot about him. And I get, listen, I don't want to play because I don't want to risk injury. I get that. But at the same time,
but the regular
it's just
season's
not a good
over.
look.
Like it's not like
it's not over.
It's not like college football where you play the whole season and you're like, okay, I'm not going to play in the bowl game. Because let's be honest with you, we're okay with players not playing in bowl games because why? Because the NCAA has all these bowl games. Like they'll have the Mud City Bowl and all these dumbass bowl games for teams that are 6-6 just for the money. So we're okay with college like players doing that, but not
right.
Like one of the reasons I dislike Brian Kelly so much is because he never coached Cincinnati in that bowl game after he took them to a New Year's Six bowl, and I never forgave him for that. Even for that, and that wasn't even the regular season. That was in the postseason when he decided to not coach that final game. I don't want to play with a guy like this. He's not very competitive in my eyes. I'd want to finish this season. I'd never for a second, and I wasn't. I mean, Jesus, I was a JV basketball player, and this guy does this for a living, and he doesn't like it as much as I liked it. Apparently, it's kind of sad. But I mean, it shows why Duke's where they're at this season because maybe they have a lot more guys like this on their team. And granted, his stats weren't great. He had some injuries throughout the season, but I mean, he did play 21 minutes over 13 games, and he did open the season with like 19 points and 19 rebounds. So. How good is this guy going to be? I don't know, but I don't think this is good for college basketball at all. It's terrible for Duke. No. I don't know what they're going to do.
Right, and two things. To your point, the season's not over. We just said Duke isn't eliminated from the NCAA tournament. They win the ACC tournament, they're in. You win your conference tournament, you're in. So this dude is literally just giving up on the season with a chance to still make it to the NCAA tournament.
Exactly.
Which, is, by the way, Jordan, is what has put certain players on the map in years past. Everybody knew who John Morant was a couple years ago, but he put everybody on notice in the NCAA tournament. It is the best stage for players in college to put their name out there for top 5 pick, top 10 pick.
Kemba Walker. What is Kemba Walker without that run with UConn, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I think when I think of Kemba Walker.
You're right. And then what also does it say about Jeremy Roach, the 19th rated player in the top 100 at Duke, point guard? What's this say about DJ Stewart? Are these two going to quit now? Like, are we going to see a trend now where guys on the same team are going to quit because they're top ranked recruits and, they get what they want because they're so highly touted and recruited by everybody else that they just think they're the prima donna and they get to do whatever they want? It's going to leave. Listen, I don't know what could happen. And like you said, he had injuries. I'm not saying he couldn't have got hurt, but Jordan, I broke my foot in a damn pool. You can get hurt doing anything nowadays. It's
pool
just
basketball, baby. It's a dangerous sport. Watch out.
It's intense. Hey, Jalen Johnson wants none of me in pool basketball. I tell you that right now.
Yeah,
he'll be crying back to Coach K to get on the court. I'll tell you that. But I think there will be some NBA teams that look at this. I really do, and question it and say, is that the type of guy we want on our team?
I think everybody will question it.
I think you have to. I really do, because it's not like he suffered an injury that ruled him out for the season. This guy straight up said, I'm opting out. No, you're being a bitch. You're quitting. Just say you're quitting. That's all there is to it. You quit. You're a quitter.
Is this not the type of guy, Mitch, that an owner would want him because an owner sees his decision as a business decision and he's like, this guy's a smart businessman. I like what he's doing. And this is the type of guy a general manager and a coach hates. You know what I mean? And so you have that conflict in an organization because an owner might want to bring somebody in like this, and he might have final say, but the coach and the general manager might not want somebody like this. I can't imagine what coach and general manager would want a player like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if almost every coach every owner in the NBA would be okay with it and actually would applaud his decision. I bet you they would. I'd be shocked if they did.
Yeah. I also heard that Jerry Jones has already made a call to Jalen Johnson, being the businessman he is, seeing if he wants to come play football. Yeah, Jerry Jones, great businessman, awful general manager.
Yeah, well, Jalen Johnson. He potentially could start for the Cowboys. I mean, we're not going to talk football today. All I'm saying is he could potentially start for the Cowboys. Also,
on that defense,
starting for someone, Jared Allen might be like a permanent starter for the Cavs. Cavs looking to deal Andre Drummond, and when I say deal Andre Drummond, I mean drag his ass off the court, tell him to put his street clothes on and sit on the bench after he was already dressed and ready to play. Draymond Green, during a press conference, because they were playing the Cavs, goes off about this. What do you think about the Cavs dealing Andre Drummond? By the way, before you do answer, the Cavs now have 2 players who are not playing between Andre Drummond and Kevin Love that make up $60 million of the cap space this year, and neither of them play for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
All of our cap space and all.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have paid the most players in NBA history to not play. I mean, I saw it on Twitter yesterday from an NBA reporter, so I'm assuming that's a fact, not an opinion. I can think of 4 right off the top of my head. The 2 you named, J.R. Smith and Derrick Rose. I'll never forget when Derrick Rose was practicing at Cleveland State because the Cavs said, "Get away, just go away. We'll figure out what we'll do with you. Just go away." I don't know. We'll do this first. The Cavs are holding out Andre Drummond to trade him.
Yes.
1, they acquired him last year, and now are showing they had no real plan as to why they acquired him.
No.
Right?
Not at all.
So Kobe Altman, why did you trade for him? Usually, general managers have an idea of what they're doing when they make these acquisitions. And Kobe Altman does not know what he's doing, it seems. I thought he was doing great, but so not only that, Jordan, but now we're going to sit a guy when the deadline is over a month away. Mm-hmm. So what happens if we don't trade him until March 24th? The deadline's March 25th. Are we just going to sit a guy and pay him all this money and he's still with the team? I mean, it makes no sense from that aspect. Just trade him now. I don't know what the Cavs are holding out for. They think they're going to get a top 3 pick in the lottery. Do they think they're going to get Jason Tatum from the Celtics? I mean, I don't know. You got to trade into the Lakers because AD's a little banged up. You got to get LeBron. Like, what is Kobe Altman thinking here? But either way, Draymond Green, for the first time, I agree with you, sir. I agree with what Draymond Green says. And that's hard for me to say because I'm not a Draymond Green fan at all. But the double standard in the NBA that has been exposed by this, that we've seen in years past, Draymond Green hit the nail on the head last night, Jordan. And there is a double standard that you and I have roasted Kyrie Irving for not wanting to play. We've roasted James Harden for forcing his way out of Houston. The NBA is the league controlled by the players the most. And we bash these players for wanting to go to better opportunities. And now we're not going to bat an eye when a team says, we're better off without playing you. Now you have to stay in shape, stay ready to play, and have a good attitude around the team. Or else your career could be in jeopardy with teams that want to acquire you.
Yeah.
Maybe how Draymond Green said it wasn't the right way, but I do agree with what Draymond said yesterday. And I know you disagree.
Disagree. I'm sorry. I had a mix-up with my camera there. And I also still have my Christmas tree in the back right corner for all those watching on YouTube right now. By the way, if you are listening right now, please make sure you are subscribing to this podcast, like this video, and hit the bell button so you don't miss any of our live videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Mitch, agree to disagree. I think Andre Drummond is a good trading piece. I didn't think he was a long-term piece. I just thought they acquired him to move him later on. Will they get more than they dished out to get him? I don't know. The Cavs and every Cleveland organization team never show you any sense of what's really going on. It's just chaos. Just until recently, we had a playoff team. I mean, we just have chaos in Cleveland. It's not good right now. It's not good. The Cavs are unwatchable. I can't watch the Cavs anymore.
They suck.
It's suck. It's rough. Now, can they move Andre Drummond for a piece that we can use on our team? Probably not. Well, Andre Drummond, and I guess we can really get to what the bulk of this show is really going to cover today. Is Andre Drummond going to go to the Lakers? Am I going to see Andre Drummond in a Los Angeles Laker uniform? Is that where I'm going to see him, Mitch? Oh, God.
It's too early to tell, but Jordan, listen. As someone that's dealt with a lot of injuries, now mine not Achilles related, you've dealt with a lot of injuries, more so than I have.
A lot, unfortunately.
Achilles are is a very tough injury,
It is.
especially with what Anthony Davis is going through right now. And one, the Lakers should be so thankful he did not tear his Achilles or pop his Achilles the other night after he complained about Achilles soreness and the team doctor cleared him to play still. Which, by the way, had he gotten hurt, I mean, I can't believe I forgot about this. That man should just win biggest balls for putting the second best player on the team, a player that just helped you win an NBA championship, on the court when his Achilles are sore in a regular season game that means nothing, which he ultimately left because he aggravated.
A sore Achilles, I've torn my Achilles twice, okay? A sore Achilles, I mean, you can have a sore Achilles just from an intense workout. So you definitely have to be able to differentiate between, is it a sore Achilles or is it like tender to the touch? Because there's definitely a difference, and they don't give us any of that information. Like the information they give to the public is not very good ever. And honestly, sometimes they don't even know how to evaluate it appropriately when it happens. So, but you can play on a sore Achilles, but he is like almost 7 feet tall, Mitch.
Right.
I mean,
and he is a big man that's been hurt throughout his career. And we've seen him get hurt years.
And most big guys have problems with what? Their feet, ankles. They have all that weight on small bones. Like it's not a good decision. Was not a good decision to play Anthony Davis. No. I think the Lakers might make a move for Andre Drummond because I think this is way worse than they said it is. They're like, oh, we'll sit him out for 2-3 weeks. No way. This is way bigger than they're letting on, and they're not going to let this hit, especially on a team with LeBron, with this front office. If they don't want the word to get out, Mitch, the word's not going to get out at all.
No.
I just don't know how they acquire Andre Drummond and what they give up. Is it worth it? Because I still think and before I give my opinion on this, do you think the Lakers, without Anthony Davis, so say the Lakers don't acquire Andre Drummond, say the Lakers as are, can the Lakers make a title run as they are right now?
LeBron James still on the team?
Hey, is LeBron James still on the Lakers? Yeah, Mitch, yeah. Yeah, I said that.
Then hell yes. As long as LeBron's on your team, you're an instant title favorite. The man took the worst team in NBA Finals history in 2007 with Boobie Gibson, Drew Gooden, Ira Newble to the NBA Finals.
Ira Newble, baby.
You're telling me he's not going to make the playoffs or make the finals with Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Jordan? They would still be a threat to get there. Might be a little harder. They might have to go to 6 games instead of 4 or 5 with the Clippers, but they would still be a favorite. Yes, as long as you have LeBron James in your team, you're always going to be in it, and you're always going to be a favorite to go to the NBA Finals. He's proven that twice in Cleveland now with some pretty bad squads he's drugged to the NBA Finals, 2007 and 2018.
I don't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is it's funny how for years the narrative was, LeBron's in the East. He's only getting to these championships because he's in the East. The East is so weak. Have to hear Skip Bayless run his mouth 4 years about LeBron not winning another title. LeBron goes out west. And what does Kevin Durant do? He says, I'm getting out of here. Kyrie Irving, I'm getting out of here. Where's James Harden? I'm getting out. Come on now. Those are 2 of the last 5 great, truly great MVPs we've probably had in the league. Lord have mercy. It's
what?
Go ahead.
What did Giannis do? Giannis stay in the East when he could have requested a trade, and the rumors were, he's interested in Golden State. Right. And listen, maybe he just didn't want to play with LeBron. There's some guys who don't, but Giannis had the choice to all opt out and go west. No, he said, I'll stay in the East away from LeBron. This stereotype that the East was weak when LeBron was here, and he leaves and goes to the big bad West. And then in his first year fully healthy, because his first year in LA he got hurt, his first year fully healthy, they go through the West to win the NBA Finals. I'm just waiting to hear how weak the West is now. Or it's because, Klay Thompson is hurt and, the Warriors are the supreme team in the West. and how great the East is. Because no, that's not how it goes. The media does anything they can to discredit LeBron James. That's all there is to it. And they're going to find a catch this year if Anthony Davis doesn't play and the Lakers go of why the Lakers made the finals again. You know, there's always going to be this caveat to shame LeBron James for whatever he does. But either way, back to the topic we were on of Andre Drummond. I don't know how the Lakers would make it work, but if LeBron James wants somebody, LeBron James gets what he wants. Okay. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Maybe he doesn't want Andre Drummond. Who's to say he doesn't tell Rob Pelinka, say, hey, call up Cleveland, go get my man Kev. We just lost Anthony Davis forward. Rob Pelinka.
Rob Lowe?
And Rob Lowe.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got me. Calls up the Cavs and says, go get my man Kevin Love. A power forward that can shoot, right? That's played with LeBron before. Now, that one would be tough to work out with the contract and everything. But I also think the Lakers are keeping this Anthony Davis injury under wraps strictly because they don't want other teams to go out there and get players they could go after. I think that's all it is. I think this injury could be more serious than what a lot of people think and what the Lakers are leading on. Because as soon as you find out, oh yeah, Anthony Davis is out for the year. Who's to say that the Jazz or the Phoenix Suns, these teams that are kind of lingering out there in the West now that have improved this year, don't go and acquire a center on the market and don't go and acquire a power forward on the market to one, keep them away from the Lakers and two, make their team better. The Lakers are playing chess while other teams are playing checkers near the trade deadline. I don't know how it would work, but I will say this. If they got Drummond or Kevin Love, I know you aren't that high on Kevin Love anymore. I still think Kevin Love going to LA, playing with LeBron and alongside other guys like that would still be a threat if he stays healthy.
I don't know if he makes them any better at all, to be honest. I love Kevin Love so much, but I don't think he makes the Lakers better even a little bit. And it's funny, you were talking about how they're trying to discredit the West now. Me and you, we're about to go through our NBA power rankings. We're about to go through our top 10 teams. And out of my power rankings, 4 out of the top teams in my power rankings are teams from the West, which is hilarious.
They're weak, though. They're weak.
Yeah, if you're Skip Bayless, anything LeBron, it's just the complete opposite. You know what I mean? Except Skip Bayless does talk about LeBron in a glowing fashion when he talks about him off the court. But he only does that so he can slam his on-the-court play.
Correct.
Clearly.
But also, if you slam LeBron for what he does off the court, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well, that's why he doesn't, because he wants a job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he can pretty much say whatever he wants after his Dak comments this year.
That's
sorry.
True.
No football today.
No football. Mitch, let's get into our power rankings. Go ahead and walk us through your. Well, you know what? You can go with whatever order you want. You can go 1 through 10, 10 through 1. Doesn't matter. Just spit it.
Maybe I go inside out. Maybe like 5, 4, 6. No, okay, I won't do that. I won't confuse everybody.
You should.
I'm just gonna go right now. This NBA power rankings right this minute, not what I think it will be at the end of the season. So listen, the Jazz are playing the best basketball out of anybody in the league right now. Off to the best start in franchise history, 23-5. They got to come in at number 1. Jordan at number 2.
Okay.
Lakers. Duh. I mean, LeBron. Listen, LeBron's top 2 all the time. I mean, when you talk about greatest of all time, he's top 2 and he's not 2. But right now, Lakers are top 2 and they are 2. Okay. At number 3, I'm going to say it's the Philadelphia 76ers. They have surprised a lot of people. Ben Simmons had a hell of a game last night. 40, I don't even know. He almost triple-double. Had a phenomenal game last night.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going to say it's the Clippers at 4, the Phoenix Suns at 5, the Milwaukee Bucks at 6. Portland is somehow still alive with CJ McCollum going down. He should be back soon. Portland's at number 7, Jordan, because they're 6 in standings league-wide. So I still, and Portland was my team at the beginning of the year. I told you. I was high on them. So Portland at, what was that, 6 or 7? Mm-hmm. Nets coming in at 8. Nuggets at 9. Huh?
You have the Nets at 8?
They don't play defense.
You smoking crack over there? You have the Nets at 8?
No.
The Nets could win it right now. You have the Nets at 8?
They can't win it right now. They don't play defense. Listen, until they prove they can play defense.
They
I mean,
put
listen,
up 160
the Cavs,
points a game. They scored on average more points than the West All-Star team the last 15 years. Okay? They
That's
score a lot.
great. What's going to happen when they finally have a night off shooting? Because it's going to happen. We've seen it before.
But
they don't play defense.
They average like 130 points a game.
We'll see.
You don't have off nights when you have 130 points a game. Watch them score like almost 160 points this year.
They'll have an off night. Don't worry. They'll have an off night.
The 8th team is a slap in the face.
Yeah, good. Tell KD and Kyrie to eat it. All right, back to my power rankings. I think I said Denver Nuggets at 9. And then at 10, I don't even know who to put at 10.
If you say the Cavs, I swear to God.
No, hell no. Cavs, they might be the worst team in the league. I don't even care. I don't even care what the record is. They might be the worst team in the league. They suck. Honestly, I don't want to say the Spurs because I'm not impressed with them. I know they're above 500. They're in the playoff hunt right now.
Not in mine.
But I'm not sold on them. Golden State, I guess.
Golden State? Okay.
I guess.
That's fair
I guess.
enough.
I feel like the 10
That's
is
fine.
Listen, Boston's faltering right now. I'd say Boston, but they're struggling.
Oh, the fact that you didn't have Boston in there either. Okay. How I'm basing my power rankings off, and every week when we do this, Mitch, this is how I base it off of. If the team above you can beat you in a 7-game series, like I basically go head-to-head. I have the Lakers at 1 because Utah in a 7-game series would not beat the Lakers right now. Playing really good basketball. I take that into account, but that's only one piece of the puzzle. Clippers at number 2, the Nets at number 3, because I just think their offensive firepower is just unbelievable. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. Even if one of their guys goes down, I still think they could probably win the East. Because the inconsistent play this year for some teams, specifically in the East, one thing to take a look at is if you look at all the teams that went deeper into the playoffs, all of those teams, such as like the Miami Heat, I went through the Celtics, the Nuggets. Those were teams that were all better than the Blazers, the Jazz, and the Sixers, and they all have worse records after almost 30 games. So maybe, just maybe, the rushed NBA season is coming back to hurt the teams that didn't get a long enough time off. Because we're seeing some teams that had a long time off, maybe like the Suns, that look a little more refreshed than other teams. And it might explain a lot of the Heat's injuries. It might explain Anthony Davis being a little more banged up than he used to. It doesn't explain why LeBron is still being LeBron right now. But I think we need to keep an eye on this, Mitch, because I think it may get worse before it gets better. But I think that's one of the reasons the Jazz had to play 7 less games just in the next round. That's a lot of games. Basketball's we always talk about how it's a lot easier for Tom Brady to do what he does than LeBron because of just the sport. You know, the nature of their assignment, their role. So where was I at? The Nets at 3. I have Utah at 4. I have the Suns at 5. The Sixers at 6. The Celtics at 7. You are 100% right. I don't know what the hell is happening with the Celtics. I will say that Kemba's a little banged up right now, and they will get better. I thought about, could they possibly make a move for Andre Drummond? I know that they got Tristan Thompson from us, but do you think they could do something like that? I know Danny Ainge doesn't like to make blockbuster moves, Mitch. Like, he usually stays the path and plays the long game, which is smart because that's how he's kept a lot of his young talent he has now. But it also has stopped him from getting over the top, right? Do you think?
Right, absolutely.
Do you think if the Celtics went and got Andre Drummond and got rid of Tristan Thompson and were able to keep Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they could win the East?
I mean, listen, I do. Tristan Thompson is playing, 22 minutes a game. He started 19 of the 24, averaging 6 points a game, Jordan, and rebound-wise, averaging 8.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond is literally averaging almost, this is just me guessing. At one point, he was averaging almost 20 and 18 for about, a 5-game stretch. He was absurd in the NBA when it comes to points and rebounding from a center. But I think the Celtics could. And the Celtics have a lot of young talent on that bench that the Cavs could even call and ask about. And maybe they bring Tristan Thompson back. And then maybe that allows you. Tristan Thompson is a pretty vocal and veteran leader in the locker room. Something that I think the Cavs are missing right now with Kevin Love not playing. And then Andre Drummond has just never been in a good situation. Went to Detroit and now he's in Cleveland. 2 losing cultures when he was there. It's not like he was here when LeBron was here. Listen, and if you go on, like I told you, I was on Twitter, just diving through threads. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're on Boston media and fans, Boston Celtics fans saying that Danny Ainge should trade Jason Tatum to the Cavs for Andre Drummond. Yes, please. Yes. Straight up. Yes.
That'd be an awful trade.
We'll even throw you.
That'd be horrific.
We'll throw you Jetty Osman.
Horrific trade.
I don't know what Boston fans are doing over. I mean, yeah, I get you lost the Pistons, you lost the Wizards, but my God, you want to get rid of Jason Tatum? He's what, 22 years old? He's younger than me. Yeah, I'll give you Andre Drummond for him.
He might have just turned 23, maybe, but it's the same thing.
I have no idea. Listen, he would make sense there. I think he would make them a threat. It would give somebody to match up against Joel Embiid when they play the Sixers. I think Toronto is the reason. We've heard Toronto is a top landing spot for Drummond.
Yeah.
And it's because they lost Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. They don't have the veteran or that big man in the middle anymore.
Man,
so I think that's why they are, talked about as the preferred landing spot. Not to mention, they're struggling. They're another team that, even when they lost Kawhi Leonard, they made a run last year in the playoffs. They look really good, and that's another team struggling this year. But I think the Celtics could make a move for Drummond. Would it work salary cap wise again? I have no idea. That's something we'd have to look up ourselves. But
I think they could, but I think they'd have to give up too much. Anywho, I had them at 7 because I still think they will bounce back. They're probably tired. Most of these teams are tired. I mean, a lot of really, 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 really good coach teams are struggling right now. And they're not struggling because they're poorly coached and they don't have the players. They're struggling because of something else. Anywho, Nuggets at 8, Blazers at 9, and I know that Dame time is a real thing, but I don't think I'm ever gonna Dame. To me, doesn't give me that Allen Iverson effect. I'm not afraid of Dame at all. I've never been afraid of Dame. I know he hit that one shot against Russell Westbrook, but I'm not solely bought into how good people think he is, because I watched Allen Iverson do some things that were way, way more elite than anything he's done. I have them at 9. Number 10, I have Houston. I actually I've always liked Victor Oladipo, and John Wall, if he stays healthy, that team, they play some defense. No noise going on in that team. DeMarcus Cousins. What's not to love about Houston? I hope this trade works out for them. Honest to God, I think they might be better in the long run.
I completely agree with that. I really do think they'll be better in the long run. That's fair. That's all.
Well, Mitch, you know what time it is?
I think I know what time it is.
It's time for your afternoon headlines.
Man,
it's my favorite time.
We have so many headlines, Jordan. Just so many. And we'll start with our new key contributor, Sam Summers. I found out the other day, he put on Twitter, just a moment of silence for him. He found out he was paying for HBO Max for the last 4 months without using it because he thought he canceled it. So just a moment of, I know Sam's listening right now.
I got something better. I got something bigger than that. Check this out. My buddy Pat, and he's going to listen to this. He's going to be pissed. There's a internet company that owes him $3,200 because they've been charging him for internet since he moved from Ohio to Colorado 3 years ago. And he just told me this. How mad would you be? Sam, I feel for you. Anytime you get gypped from some subscriptions like that, it's a rough time. It's happened to me one time this month already. So, yeah.
All right. Well, and fair warning, these headlines are just all over the place. So going in the order, I jotted them down for the past few days. So Jordan, let's just go straight to Pennsylvania, where a Little Caesars was closed because all the workers just quit one day. Just thought it was.
Where was this odd. Little Caesars at?
York, Pennsylvania.
York, Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Imagine just sitting at home being like, hey, I'm going to go get a pizza today. You go there and just there's a sign right at the door. We all quit. Closed.
Was there a sign?
Oh, yeah, there was a sign. It says, we all quit. Closed. On the Little Caesars.
It's almost too nice. If you're all going to quit and leave, I don't even think you should put a sign up.
I agree. I just thought it was hilarious. I wanted to throw it out there.
No,
Speaking of nice, Jordan, I just wanted to say it was nice to see Dustin Fox has returned to Twitter, and he hoped everybody had a great Valentine's Day and said, be kind to the ones that love you most. Don't take it for granted. I think somebody was in the doghouse for the past week and a half.
Oh my gosh. That was his opening tweet.
Yes.
He's trying to cheat on his wife, and his opening tweet is someone's in trouble. Like, that's not good. Like, that's not. What an asshole. That's kind of hilarious, though, that he would say something like that.
Oh, Dustin Fox is one of a kind.
That's hilarious. Who does that? Who flaunts the fact that they tried to cheat on their wife on the internet and then thinks it's funny and puts a jab out there? That doesn't make you cool. Or maybe it does. I don't know. I'm really not that connected with the public anymore.
Cool.
Are you sure?
You know what does? Yeah, you know what does make you cool though?
What?
When your girlfriend makes you Instagram official, which is what Kendall Jenner did for Devin Booker on Valentine's Day on Instagram.
Good for you.
So that's a big news. I thought.
Wow.
I figured we needed to address that.
Wow, they were number 5 on my power rankings today,
and you might need to go.
And he's official with Kendall Jenner. Good man. Booker's having good for him.
Yeah, balling on and off the court. And someone else that's balling off the field, maybe not on the field because the Pittsburgh Pirates suck, but Cole Tucker of the Pittsburgh Pirates was also made Instagram official with his girlfriend Vanessa Hudgens. Hudgens. Remember from High School Musical?
Well, I don't remember because I never watched those, and I never will. But I know who she is. And yes, I judge you if you've watched them for sure.
I watched them when I was a kid.
You watched them last week. I called and I could hear it on in the background. Either that or you were listening to the soundtrack.
It was the soundtrack. Not gonna lie.
It's okay.
Just let me be okay.
Just open up. Tell our audience who you are. Maybe they'll connect more. Maybe when we come out with Mitch Cover Your Ball shirts that just say Mitch across the front, maybe your stories like that, they'll connect. They'll remember that.
They'll say, get your head in the game. If you know, you know. Either way, Cole Tucker now also Instagram official with Vanessa Hudgens. Just another one on Valentine's Day. Jordan, we did a top 4 a while ago of your top 4 candy bars at 4.
Yeah, we did.
A good candy bar is Kit Kat. And breaking news today, Kit Kat is coming out with a vegan Kit Kat.
Whoa, vegan Kit Kat.
Vegan Kit Kat. They asked in the tweet who's excited. I'm not, because I'm not vegan. If you are, that's cool. If you're a listener, you're vegan, that's cool. I'm just not. I'm not. I'd rather eat a Kit Kat.
Hashtag vegan cat.
Vegan cat is right, I guess. Quick NBA note. The Cavs and Spurs that were supposed to be played tomorrow in Cleveland was postponed because the Spurs are shut down for 2 to 3 straight games for COVID tracing. And the Hornets, who just played the Spurs, were also shut down. So now the Cavs get to host the Denver Nuggets Friday night, who just kicked their ass by 33, Jordan. Is it even going to be close?
Probably not. I want to say it will be because, Bickerstaff, maybe he gets to the guys and maybe he's able to. Right now, it's an energy and attitude problem. Clearly, these guys are not playing very hard, which is kind of crazy because this team's really young. And so to think that a team is just not going to go out there and go all out is very disappointing. Honestly, there's something bigger going on inside the locker room that we don't know, Mitch, because I
know.
This wouldn't what are they, 8-game losing streak at this point? By the way, you called this 2 or 3 weeks ago. You said the Cavs are about to go on a long ass losing streak. They're about to get just destroyed. And you were right. And not only were you right, but now we're trading players. That's where we're at right now. So they're not going to win.
They've lost 8 in a row. 7 of their last 8 opponents have scored 120 points or more. And the one anomaly there was the Phoenix Suns, who only scored 119.
The effort thing just pisses me off. I just can't imagine getting paid that kind of money. I can't imagine doing any job and getting paid what you're supposed to get paid for, but not giving the 100% effort in. Like, it's just, and that's the kind of stuff that, and we'll get to this in a little bit. We're talking about owners. Obviously, we'll get to this in a little bit because our thumbnail for this episode is a whole bunch of crying babies on it, and nobody knows why yet. Mitch, you can keep rolling with the headlines. Just keep rolling.
Just pointed out, Cavs have lost 10 of their last 11 games, 8-game losing streak. Like I said, lost the Denver Nuggets by 33 last week. I'm more interested to see if Larry Nance Jr. is going to try to do the Nugget Challenge again. How
many Nuggets is that? Lay the rules out for everybody.
You have to eat more chicken nuggets than the Denver Nuggets score points.
That's the rule. That's awesome.
That's the rules.
Who made this game up?
I honestly, probably a Cleveland fan a while ago, and
that's pretty dope. That's pretty hilarious. It's even cooler that Larry Nance Jr. would do that. Like, it's cool.
He's the one person I hope never leaves Cleveland, like on the Cavs. He just stays here. He gets us. Yeah. He's from here, though. That makes sense. Went to Revere. Jordan, anyway, let's go to a different type of ball we haven't covered, and it's tennis, where Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka are going to meet in the Australian Open semifinals. It's going to be a bigger matchup than what the Australian Open finals are. Are you taking Serena or Naomi?
Well, obviously, you know who I'm taking. You know I'm taking Serena. I don't follow any other female tennis players other than Serena and Venus Williams at all. So, plus, Serena's the best of all time. Maybe the best female athlete ever, too. Just putting that out there. I know we talked about her last week.
Yeah, for sure.
She's a big deal.
Jordan, moving to baseball now. The MLB came out with their postseason odds. And last week they had the Indians at 86 wins, which was the 5th best in the American League, would have qualified for the playoffs. But Jordan, today, they gave the Indians a 17% chance to make the playoffs. Doesn't make sense going back to last week, but which is more likely to happen? The Indians win 86 games, or the Indians make the playoffs?
I think the Indians winning 86 games is a lot more doable than making the playoffs. I mean, if you're an Indians fan and you watch this offseason, you're like, holy shit, are we going to win any games? 86 games is 5 games above 500. 86 games will not get you in the playoffs typically. It's not getting you in the playoffs. Probably
unless it's expanded again.
Unless it's expanded, and it won't be expanded with because we're gonna basically have a full season, right? I mean, 162 games, and so they're not gonna have an expanded playoff again. I mean, yeah, I just can't imagine the Indians being better than that. I could see them being a 500 club at best. This is what I know. Terry Francona is going to get 100% out of his guys. If there's one manager in baseball who, honest to God, he's one of the best managers, in my opinion, of all time. I cannot believe Boston ever, threw him away. They did win one with somebody else after they did that, by the way. Shocker.
Too.
Yeah, they did. But I think he's one of the best of all time. I think his players love him and they respect him. I think that they will get 86 wins. I think we're going to be just shy.
I agree with that. And you said watching the Indians, which that's where my next headline takes me. Nick Cameo of WKYC Cleveland tweeted out that the Cleveland Indians are hopeful and expecting to have fans at Progressive Field this upcoming season. While the exact capacity is unknown at the time, the club is making preparations to welcome back fans, which, if you ask me, is bold for them to assume anyone wants to go watch what they're going to put on the field this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a slap in the face. You know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. Not this past Brown season, but the season before, they raised Brown's season ticket prices and Brown's tickets in general just by 40%. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, you haven't given us a product worthy enough to buy yet. How can you raise tickets? And I can understand when Trevor Bauer is going to legitimately make more than the Indians in year 2 for the Los Angeles Dodgers than the entire Indians roster combined, you're making it hard for us to watch the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I'll stay at home.
We don't
where
want
beer isn't $900.
exactly. It's not that we want to be an underdog, but that's not even being an underdog. Like you're not gonna. Your odds are so slim. It's obviously not about winning in Cleveland.
No, I agree. Paul Dolan, you suck. Said it every time. I'll say it until you finally sell the damn team, sir. You
Yes, sir.
suck. Well, moving on, Jordan. In better news, last week we touched on the incident involving Kansas City Chiefs linebackers coach Brett Reed.
Yeah, we did.
5-year-old was harmed in it with life-threatening injuries. Today, she actually woke up from the coma. So in better news,
awesome.
the 5-year-old has awoke from the coma. And in the release, Jordan, I know you and I had talked about it, it did say involving former Chiefs assistant coach, which means the Chiefs have let Brett Reed go. And according to the report, he told the officer he only had 2 to 3 drinks.
Honest to God, I'm not like, did he have a breathalyzer? Because here's my thing, because I know that he was on prescription Adderall and he had 2 beers. I could see how an officer could, like, he's probably a little, God, what's the right word for this? A little edgy. Because I've been on 1 Adderall and 2 beers before. Not edgy, but a little like jumpy. So he probably seemed like he was really intoxicated. I hope that they did like a toxicology report. Me and you were talking about this last week. It seems like they did. They wouldn't have fired him. Because me and you talked about, well, the Chiefs try to keep this as quiet as possible. Well, of course, because they love Andy Reid. And this is Andy Reid's son. So you're not going to sit here and bash him in the media because everybody in the media loves Andy Reid. They're not going to get on his bad side. So this is not so surprising that this happened. I bet you, man, do you think he was really drunk?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Because listen, you and I both know what it's like to be on Adderall and or consume alcohol on Adderall. And he hit 2 cars stopped on the side of an on-ramp.
Oh,
2-3 drinks, buddy. No, it sounds like you had 2-3 bottmes. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm just happy
it's a lot
that the 5-year-old
is
out
of the somebody on an on-ramp. I've seen people, I've almost hit somebody on an on-ramp. Like, it's easy. Some people that stopped
on the side of the road?
Not all on-ramps. You can see everything around the bend. I mean, I've almost hit somebody going 10, 15 miles an hour around an on-ramp on a bend, people parking in the wrong spot. That's why I didn't jump to anything. That's why I was asking you those questions. That's why I want more information. I don't understand how Kansas City can keep all this quiet and not release anything involving something that a 5-year-old girl almost lost her life over. You know what I mean? Like, this is football. Like, well, welcome to the real world, football. Like, you don't get to hide things like that, but apparently you do. It's weird.
Amen. I'm right there with you. And, according to Sam Summers, he had preach. His eyes were reportedly bloodshot as well at the scene. So that's Britt Reed we're talking about. But just good news that the 5-year-old has come out of the coma. Hopefully she rests up and gets back to 100%. That'd be the great thing to see, Jordan. Just a few more here. We're going to talk about a wild one. I got an email today from change.org.
From change.org? Okay.
We know we know who Tom
What are we
Brady
changing?
Is. We know what Tom Brady does. And Tom Brady has a business called TB12. We know that.
Yeah. So
this email I got today was saying that early in the pandemic, TB12 got a $960,855 PPP loan meant for small businesses. Tom Brady is worth more than $200 million, and he made over $100,000 on the Super Bowl alone. Meanwhile, 9 million small businesses in the U.S. fear they won't survive the pandemic. This man has started something to make Tom Brady give that back. He's not in contention for who has bigger balls today, Jordan, but 1, I found that kind of interesting. And 2, I thought this man trying to make a petition to make Tom Brady give his money back deserved a little bit of a shout out for having some big balls.
What do you think about that, though? What do you think of him taking that loan? Does that bother you?
It does bother me. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're as wealthy as him, there's businesses out there that you and I know that are very small and local that are struggling to stay afloat right now. We know Tom Brady has the money. Now, if it's your company, you should be able to invest your own money in it. But I do think there are other businesses that are more deserving of that. But at the same time, can't really pick and choose. Like, if you get the money, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he has a small business. It's not like he created it to get a loan. You know what I mean? Like, it's legit.
No, right. But
Yeah,
my whole thing is he could have kept it afloat without that, though.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he could have, but every elite person in the world, especially in America, if they can take a shortcut or if there's a loophole in it, they're gonna take it. That's they're smart. Less work, more money, better, put yourself in a better circumstance, a better situation. Personally or professionally, hell yeah, they're doing it.
True.
You bet they're doing it.
All right, Jordan, last two.
Yeah.
This is a feel good story. Joe Biden, President Joe Biden,
yes, sir,
at Camp David with his granddaughter.
Good for him.
Beat his granddaughter in Mario Kart as the driver Luigi. That was a top story today. I just wanted to let everybody know that Joe Biden does play Mario Kart as Luigi and beat his granddaughter.
Back to peaceful times.
Now, is that a bad thing there? Like beating your granddaughter in Mario Kart? Should he let her win, or do you need to teach her a lesson?
He didn't beat her. I'd have to watch it. He didn't beat her. He can't go to the bathroom by himself.
And lastly, Jordan, to finish it up.
Yes, sir.
25 years ago today.
Yep.
Happy Gilmore defeated Shooter McGavin to win the Tour Championship in honor of Chubbs Peterson. Just a feel-good story. 25 years ago today.
One of my favorite movies of all time, Happy Gilmore. In the song On the Ice with Adam Sandler, and I can't think of that actress, when they sing Endless Love with Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. One of my favorite songs of all time. I love that movie. Love it.
And Jordan, those are today's afternoon headlines.
Mitch, that was solid. Those are some really, really, really good headlines. Here's a comment coming on the board from Sam Summers saying, Joe Biden as Luigi doesn't surprise me at all. Trump guaranteed uses either Wario or Donkey Kong. Oh, man. Well, guys, that was Mitch's afternoon headline. And before we end the show and go into our last small segment, which is my favorite segment, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube or on Spotify or on iTunes, please do it. It helps us out. Give us feedback. We're always looking to get better and cover more interesting things. Mitch, let's get into our last and arguably my favorite segment.
Who has bigger balls?
Who? Who, Mitch? Who? Who is it?
Jordan, we have two phenomenal matchups. Or we have a phenomenal matchup between two very worthy contestants for who has the bigger balls of episode 26. So we'll start out first.
Okay.
Is it Lorraine Gross, who is now trending and known as Karen Lombardi, who put out a video demanding Tom Brady issues an apology for throwing the Lombardi trophy, since she is related to Vince Lombardi. She was insulted that he would take something that means so much to her and her family and throw it as it was nothing. So is it her, who we are naming as Karen Lombardi, or Jordan? Is it the Super Bowl streaker? The man we saw run on the field after he placed a bet and won a lot of money, but Jordan, he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Not only did he put money on the bet, he had his other friends put money on the bet, which all netted them the win of the bet. But because he went out public and it was considered what some people would say tampering with the bet, he has now been forced to give all the money back. And now his friends that put the bet down as well have lost all the money they placed on the bet, which I think was $1,000 each. And don't forget, so not only did he lose the $1,000 he bet, now he probably thought, I'm making that back and the money I needed to get bailed out of jail back. But no, now he's just lost more money than he even put down in the beginning. So is it Karen Lombardi or is it the Super Bowl streaker who went public and has lost now all his money?
Mitch, it's obviously the Super Bowl streaker. It takes no effort and no balls to say some ignorant, dumb shit. And that's what she said. They threw a piece of metal. Okay, that's what he did. If Tom Brady wants to no, I can't say that on YouTube. That's not something I can say. Tom Brady can do whatever he wants to this trophy, whatever you know what I mean? Who cares? It's not a big thing. It's not like they were like doing anything like man, I don't want to say that either. You know what? He definitely has the bigger balls. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Jordan, I was gonna say it was Karen Lombardi. But I can't because today I found out that there's not one Lombardi trophy for the winning team of the Super Bowl. Apparently, Tampa Bay has 3 Lombardi trophies now from their Super Bowl 55 win. So had Tom Brady thrown, let's just say Tom Brady drunkenly throws that to Gronk. Gronk fumbles it, falls in the bottom of the river, which, by the way, that thing's sinking right away. You're not going to jump in and just, it's going to float. That thing's at the bottom, so you're going to have to get a dive crew.
Bottom.
They still have 2 other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the end of the world. Listen. However, that wasn't the question. It's Karen Lombardi for being offended.
Oh my gosh.
By a piece of metal being thrown. How are you going to come out and demand an apology for something you didn't even help make? You have the only reason you're connected to it is because of your grandfather or your father, however you're related to Vince Lombardi. I don't even care, and I don't even know. All right, she's got some big balls to come out here and demand an apology from Tom Brady for doing whatever he pleases. His 7th championship, blah, blah, blah. Listen, the Super Bowl streaker just got excited. He was chasing the clout instead of the money. I respect it. I mean, kind of. I much rather would have had the money, but listen, Karen Lombardi, you have big balls for thinking, 1, somebody owes you an apology to begin with, and 2, making that person be Tom Brady.
Well, Mitch, we're going to have to go to a different system because me and you definitely have different opinions on this. I will say this. He said, Maurice coming in on the chat saying, for sure, Karen. Ah, man. I will say this. I will say that she is a perfect representation of a lot of the morons in our country right now. A lot of people who are just complaining for no reason or making things bigger than they should be or canceling people. She is a perfect representation of not the type of like woman, but person. Like there's a ton of guys out there doing the same dumb shit. Juicy Smollett, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of crazy stuff out there. You got to watch out for it. How are we going to get a vote for this?
I think I'll leave this up to you. Do we go to our contributor on Thursday, Sam Summers, or do we go to Twitter?
I think we might have to go to Twitter. By the way, D coming in through the chat saying the streaker still got the money because the guy who owns the website he promoted pays him. Man, it seems like everybody agrees with you, Mitch, in this chat. Really? I mean, that's some real ignorant stuff, but everybody can, man. We have to take this to Twitter. I'm not going to give this to you. Guys, thank you for watching. Is this the 26th episode, Mitch? We've lasted 26 episodes long? Do you think we'd last that long?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'd last that long?
I didn't think we'd make it past 2.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. And we're just getting started.
We are just getting started. Well, guys, make sure you're subscribing, liking us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all over the place. We'll be back Thursday, and my co-host Mitch Balla will be hosting episode 27. And Sam Summers will join us for the 2nd Thursday in a row. Big things happening.
Big time edition. Wow, I can't talk.
Covering all your balls, all your sports balls.
Oh, so many balls.
All of them. Guys, thanks for tuning in for episode 26. We appreciate you. We love you. We're out of here.